EasyJet looked at Southwest Airlines in the States, which I guess was the model for the low-cost airline. The key things for this being no assigned seating, snacks only, more flights, cheap tickets, etc. They both looked at this model and they adapted it accordingly. And the difference really between that, which is very clear from the programme, between Ryanair and EasyJet is that Ryanair decided to brand themselves orange EasyJet decided to brand themselves orange and Ryanair blue. But that aside, actually what is becoming more and more apparent is that Ryanair seems to have an almost sort of blatant disregard for the passenger, whereas EasyJet still seems to somehow think a little bit about service in that respect, which is a model that comes from Southwest Airlines.
And yet they both seem to do relatively well. Now there is an idea. There's an idea behind these series that airports are inherently fascinating. Heathrow Airport has a writer in residence, perhaps for that reason. If we move on to Airport Live, what you've seen of it, does it find the stories that are there?
I think the most interesting bits of footage from Airport Live were actually not the live bits of footage. They were the things that when the reporters went off, Dallas Campbell, etc., and Dan Snow, to look at aspects of how that airport works and how actually the airlines work within it. The air traffic control operation is obviously hugely complicated, but actually with Kate Humble up on the visual control tower, interviewing or trying to interview Dave Marshall, the chief air traffic controller. It was a sort of one of those conversations whereby Dave Marshall is an incredibly calm, mild-mannered, and obviously very considered person, which obviously is a key aspect to actually having that job. But the drama was just unfortunately not there. Looking at screens all day long and trying to film that is not very exciting. And obviously the only things that might be exciting are when something terrible goes wrong. And obviously, we were warned initially that they would just pull the cameras immediately if anything like that happened, so we wouldn't see it, not that we'd want to see it. But rarely do things go wrong.
I was going to say, briefly, that's the inherent tension, isn't it? Because airports are very often boring, except as you say when they're not, in which case both these programmes have been in deep trouble.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd like to see is Celebrity Airport Live. We've had to have Gordon Ramsay up there in the air traffic control. Now, that might be quite amusing, but I think having Airport Live as a live programme perhaps wasn't the best idea.
Thank you to Henry Sutton. Airport Live is on BBC 2 at 8 p.m. tonight, followed by Flights and Fights inside the low-cost airline at 9 p.m. This and previous editions of Front Row can be downloaded through the BBC Radio 4 website. And now we find a legendary Hollywood swashbuckler in an East Midlands town. In the centre of Northampton, the Royal and Dermgate theatres to joining Auditoria are going to be joined by a cinema venue, the Errol Flynn Film House, a new cinema for Northampton. It's named after Errol Flynn, who, for younger people, or those who don't remember, was a sort of Russell Crowe of his day, a flamboyant Antipodean actor who, among other roles, played Robin Hood. And I'm here to find out why it's named after Errol Flynn. Gary, a lot of people, they connect from Australia with Hollywood, but as you reveal in the title of your book, Errol Flynn in Northampton, this was a significant place for Errol Flynn.
That's right. He came from Paris because he was wanted in Australia.
And Mark Fallon, chief executive of Royal and Dermgate, he got a significant acting contract here.
Indeed, he was one of the rep players, and so he was a resident there for a period of 6 months.
What sort of roles did he play?
Well, he played anything and everything.
Because the contract would be players cost.
That's right. Initially, £3 a week contract, and I think it went up then to £5 a week.
And what year was this?
Late 1933 and 6 months of 1934.
Did he leave anything behind him?
The rest of the chaos is we have a few artifacts. We've got a script of the fellow, which has his handwritten director notes in there, which is secure in our safe until we find a way to display that properly. But and we've also got programmes and signposts and things for him. But up until now, we haven't really celebrated, acknowledged the connection, so the cinema's a good chance for us to do that.
Jerry, and this chaos that Martin referred to, it was presumably sexual, but very creative. I mean, are there descendants?
To the best of our knowledge, no. One of the things that he did leave behind was a lot of debt. Well, like I say, he knew how to live on his wits, and he could walk into practically any shop, get goods on the take, and then he did a runner.
Bad news, Martin. So when your first take here, you might have the descendants of landladies and businessmen coming to claim debts with 80 years interest.
Well, hold up, think bad debts would be very happy to live over a lovely German Coca-Cola with like a number of shops yet as unpaid debts like everybody else. I'm sure there may be some kind of this.
And we persuaded you, Martin, to bring the material out of the safe. It's an extraordinary thing. You've got the play script, which we'll have a look at in a moment, but look at these programs you've also brought down. And you play pretty much every week. So they were learning and rehearsing one while playing the next. This is from the week commencing December 25th, Christmas Day, 1933. Jack and the Beanstalk, a fairy play in 3 acts by Margaret Carter. And there it is, Prince Gonville, Errol Flynn. And then this is from 8th of January, so they were presumably rehearsing this while in the pantomime. Northampton Repertory Players to present Bulldog Drummond, the play in 3 acts by Saka. Markovich, who presumably Shady Spy, was a communist. Yeah. Jerry, he played by Errol Flynn. And there is some controversy, as with his contemporary look-alike, sound-alike, career-alike Russell Crowe, a certain controversy over how good an actor he was.
No. He was a natural actor. In fact, any training he did get, he got in Northampton. He came here telling me that he was the film star in Australia, which it was so clear that he knew nothing about acting at all. If you told him to move stage left, he'd go to the right,
Well, I suppose the chief remark which we'll avoid is that if Russell Crowe wanted to improve his acting, he needs a 6-month contract at the Northampton Royal Enfield.